My name is Allison Reynolds, 36 years old, and I've spent most of my life putting everyone else first. As I sat alone in my cap and gown, staring at the 4 empty seats I'd reserved for my family, I couldn't stop the tears from welling up. My husband and 3 children, the people I'd sacrificed everything for, had chosen my sister-in-law's art exhibition over my college graduation. Before I tell you how I ended up celebrating alone on what should have been one of my proudest days, drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from, and subscribe if you've ever felt invisible to the people who should see you the most. I married young, just 19, when Jason, 22 and ambitious, proposed after a whirlwind romance. We were the definition of opposites attract. He was methodical and career-focused, while I was spontaneous and creative. I was halfway through my freshman year of college, studying business with dreams of starting my own company someday. Jason was finishing his master's in architecture, already fielding job offers from prestigious firms. When I discovered I was pregnant with Emma 3 months after our wedding, everything changed. My morning sickness was so severe I could barely attend classes. Jason was working long hours at his new job, determined to provide for our growing family. With his encouragement, though in retrospect, it felt more like gentle pressure, I withdrew from college. "You can always go back," he said, but we both knew that was unlikely with a baby on the way. Emma arrived, beautiful and demanding, and I threw myself into motherhood. Tyler followed 2 years later, and Lily 3 years after that. By the time our youngest started kindergarten, I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 11 years. Jason's career had flourished. He was now a partner at his firm, designing commercial buildings across the country. We had a beautiful home in the suburbs, 3 healthy children, and financial stability. From the outside, we had it all. Then there was Meredith, Jason's younger sister. 5 years our junior, she'd never settled down, not with a partner or a career. She floated from passion to passion, photography, sculpture, painting, always with their parents' financial support. While I managed our household on a strict budget, Meredith received loans that were never repaid for art supplies, studio space, and international inspiration trips. Jason never questioned this disparity. To him, Meredith was the family's creative spirit who needed nurturing. My in-laws, Harold and Patricia, made no secret of their adoration for their daughter. They attended every exhibition, no matter how small. They framed her work, even pieces I privately thought weren't her best, and displayed them prominently in their home. When they visited us, conversations inevitably turned to Meredith's latest endeavors, while my efforts to maintain their son's home and raise their grandchildren went unacknowledged. Meredith's opening a new exhibit next month, Patricia would announce during Sunday dinner, her voice lifting with excitement. "She's featuring her watercolors of the Amalfi Coast." "That's wonderful," I'd reply, passing the potatoes I'd spent hours preparing. "The kids have their recital that weekend. We'd love if you could come." "We'll see," Harold would say vaguely, already discussing which of Meredith's pieces they might purchase. I accepted this dynamic for years, focusing on being the best mother and wife I could be. But as Lily entered elementary school, I found myself with quiet hours during the day and a growing sense of incompleteness. The business dreams I'd shelved were still there, dusty but intact. "I'm thinking about going back to school," I told Jason one night after the kids were asleep. "Just part-time. To finish my business degree." He looked up from his laptop, surprised but not dismissive. "Really? After all this time? That's a lot to take on with the kids' schedules." "I know, but I need something for myself. I've put everything on hold for 15 years. After some discussion, Jason agreed, though his support came with unspoken conditions. Our family's routine couldn't be disrupted, his career would remain the priority, and my education would fit into the margins of our lives. I enrolled in night classes at the local university, squeezing coursework between grocery shopping and soccer practice. I studied after the kids went to bed, often falling asleep with textbooks on my chest. My grades were excellent despite the challenges, perhaps because I appreciated this second chance in ways my younger classmates couldn't understand. The family adjusted barely. Jason attended parent-teacher conferences alone when they conflicted with my classes. The kids learned to ask their father for help with homework on my class nights. I became an expert at preparing meals in advance, maintaining our home, managing everyone's schedules, and still making the dean's list semester after semester. What I couldn't prepare for was the family's indifference. No one asked about my classes or grades. My academic achievements. The A on a difficult finance exam, my business plan that the professor used as an example, were met with distracted nods. Meanwhile, Meredith's decision to experiment with mixed media art received enthusiastic family phone calls and a celebration dinner. As my final semester approached, I allowed myself to feel excitement about graduation. After 15 years, I would finally have my degree. I marked the date on our family calendar 6 months in advance, May 15th, circled in red. 2 weeks later, Meredith called during dinner. Jason put her on speakerphone as she breathlessly announced her news. I got it. The Westfield Gallery downtown. They're giving me a solo exhibition, she exclaimed. That's amazing, Meredith. Jason beamed as if he'd received good news himself. When is it? Patricia asked, already reaching for her planner. May 15th, Meredith replied. It's a Saturday evening, perfect for a big turnout. You'll all come, right? This could be my breakthrough. I froze, fork halfway to my mouth as the date registered. No one else seemed to notice the conflict. We wouldn't miss it, Jason promised, while the kids cheered about going to a real art gallery. I said nothing that night, telling myself there was plenty of time to work this out. Surely once I reminded them, they would realize the impossible position they were putting me in. Surely my graduation, the culmination of years of sacrifice and hard work, would matter to them. I was wrong. 6 months before graduation, I brought home the official commencement information packet. After dinner, while the kids were clearing the table, I spread the materials on the kitchen counter. So it's official, I announced, trying to infuse my voice with excitement. May 15th at 11 a.m. I get 4 tickets for family. I looked up at Jason, who was loading the dishwasher. I thought you, Emma, Tyler, and Lily could come. They're giving a reception afterward. Jason glanced at the brochure. That's great, mid-May, right? That's coming up faster than we think. It's the same day as Aunt Meredith's art show, Emma pointed out, her 15-year-old eyes already back on her phone. Her show is in the evening, I clarified. Graduation should be done by 2 p.m. at the latest. We'd have plenty of time for both. Cool, Tyler mumbled, 14 and perpetually unimpressed. Lily, my youngest at 11, at least gave me a quick hug before darting off to finish homework. That night, I made reservations at Milano's, the Italian restaurant where Jason and I had celebrated our engagement. I imagined us toasting with the same Chianti we'd shared 17 years earlier, our children witness to their mother's accomplishment. I indulged in the fantasy of Jason giving a proud speech about my perseverance, perhaps even acknowledging the sacrifices I'd made for our family. As weeks passed, I noticed increasing mentions of Meredith's exhibition. Jason's parents called regularly with updates on the gallery preparations. Meredith herself sent group texts with photos of her works in progress, each met with enthusiastic family responses. I tried not to feel resentful, reminding myself there was room for both celebrations. One evening in March, 2 months before graduation, I overheard Jason in the living room with the kids. Aunt Meredith's going to have these interactive pieces where visitors can add their own touch to the artwork, he was explaining animatedly. And she's hired a string quartet. The Westfield is one of the most prestigious galleries in the city. This is huge for her. Will there be food? Tyler asked, suddenly interested. Catering from Blanc, that new French place downtown, Jason confirmed. And your grandparents are flying in for it. Can I wear my new dress? Lily chimed in. The blue one with sparkles? Absolutely. We should all dress up. This is a big moment for our family. I stood in the hallway, a basket of laundry balanced on my hip, listening to the excitement in their voices. Not once in our household had anyone expressed similar enthusiasm for my graduation. No discussions about what to wear, no acknowledgement of the milestone it represented. That night, I tried again to generate interest as I helped Lily with her math homework. "I got my cap and gown today," I mentioned casually. "They take pictures as you walk across the stage to get your diploma." Lily replied, focused on her fractions. "Mom, I don't understand how to find the common denominator." Later, helping Emma with her English essay, I made another attempt. For graduation, they group us by majors. All the business students sit together. "That's nice," Emma said distractedly. "Do you think this thesis statement is strong enough?" Each dismissal stung, but I swallowed my hurt and continued preparing for finals. My capstone project required extensive research, and I often stayed up until 2 a.m. working after everyone was asleep. During one such late night, Jason wandered into the kitchen for water. "Still at it?" he asked, squinting at the brightness of my laptop screen. "Almost done with this section," I yawned. "Did you know some of my professors will be hooded at graduation?" "It's a special ceremony for those who've earned their doctorates." "Interesting," he said, already turning back toward our bedroom. "Don't stay up too late." The week after my comment, Meredith sent a formal invitation for her exhibition. It arrived in a black envelope with silver embossing. "The Westfield Gallery presents Boundaries, New Works by Meredith Reynolds. Opening reception May 15th, 7 p.m. Jason displayed it prominently on our refrigerator, right over my graduation announcement. As April turned to May, the family's focus shifted entirely to Meredith's event. Patricia called daily with updates and questions about what the children would wear. Jason took the kids shopping for new outfits. When I mentioned we should leave for the graduation venue by 9:30 a.m. to find parking, the response was tepid at best. "We know, Mom," Emma sighed. "You've told us 100 times." The night before my final exam, I was reviewing my notes when Jason came home late from work, carrying shopping bags. "What's all that?" I asked, gesturing to the packages. "Just picked up my suit from the dry cleaners for Meredith's opening," he replied. "And I got the kids some things. Tyler needed dress shoes, and I found a tie that matches Lily's dress." "That's thoughtful," I said carefully. "Did you remember we have graduation first? Maybe pack a change of clothes?" Jason paused, a strange expression crossing his face. "About that, I've been thinking." My stomach tightened with dread. 2 weeks before graduation, we were having dinner as a family, a rarity with everyone's busy schedules. I'd made lasagna, Jason's favorite, hoping to create a positive atmosphere for discussing graduation day logistics. Emma was texting under the table, Tyler was rushing to finish so he could return to his video game, and Lily was picking out the mushrooms from her portion. Just another typical family dinner. Jason cleared his throat after taking a sip of wine. "So, I wanted to talk to everyone about the 15th. I looked up, relieved he was taking initiative to coordinate our day. "I was talking with Mom and Dad today, and they pointed out something important," he continued. "Meredith's exhibition is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for her. The Westfield Gallery rarely features emerging artists, and there will be critics and collectors there who could change her career overnight." I nodded slowly, uncertain where this was heading. "The thing is," Jason went on, not quite meeting my eyes, "the real networking happens before the official opening. The serious collectors arrive early, around 4 p.m., for a private viewing. Mom and Dad think we should all be there from the beginning to support Meredith and help her make connections." The implication hung in the air for a moment before I understood. "But my graduation ceremony ends at 2, I said, keeping my voice steady. "We'd have time to—" "Well, that's cutting it pretty close," Jason interrupted. "Considering traffic and we'd need to change clothes, get the kids ready. I think," he said carefully, "it might make more sense for us to just attend Meredith's exhibition. Your graduation is important, of course, but it's just a ceremony. You'll still have your degree whether you walk across the stage or not." The kitchen fell silent. Even Emma looked up from her phone, sensing tension. "Just a ceremony?" I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. "Mom, Aunt Meredith said there's going to be a famous YouTube artist there," Lily piped up, oblivious to my distress. "She said she might introduce us." "And Grandma said there's going to be a special dessert table," Tyler added. "With fancy chocolate stuff." Emma, at least, had the awareness to look uncomfortable. "Can you just get your diploma in the mail or something?" she asked, attempting practicality. I stared at my family, these people I'd centered my life around, as they casually dismissed one of my proudest achievements. "This isn't just a ceremony to me," I said quietly. "This represents 15 years of work. Of putting my dreams on hold for our family. Of studying after you were all asleep, of writing papers while sitting through soccer practices and dance recitals." Jason sighed, adopting the tone he used when the children were being unreasonable. "Allison, we understand you worked hard. And we're proud of you. But this is Meredith's big break. She needs her family there, all of us. You're being a bit selfish about this." Selfish. The word hit me like a physical blow. In 17 years of marriage, I had never once put myself first. "I'm being selfish?" I laughed incredulously. "For wanting my husband and children at my college graduation? After I gave up my education to raise our family?" "Mom, don't be dramatic," Emma muttered, returning to her phone. "That's enough, Emma," Jason said sharply, then turned back to me. "Look, Al, we can celebrate your graduation another time. Have a nice dinner the next weekend or something. But Meredith only gets one first major exhibition. You have to understand that family comes first." "Family comes first," I repeated, the irony nearly choking me. "And I'm not family?" Jason had the decency to look abashed. "That's not what I meant." The children, sensing real conflict, made hasty excuses to leave the table. Once we were alone, I let the tears I'd been holding back fall freely. 15 years, Jason. 15 years I've waited for this moment. Do you have any idea how hard it's been? Working around everyone else's schedules, staying up until 2 a.m. to finish assignments, never once complaining when I had to miss classes for the kids' activities. "I know you've worked hard," he said defensively. "But it's just one day. We can take pictures of you in your cap and gown at home. It'll be the same." "It will not be the same." I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This isn't about pictures. It's about respect. About acknowledging that my achievements matter too. Not just Meredith's, not just yours, not just the kids, mine." Jason's expression hardened. "I think you're overreacting. It's not like you're never going to use this degree. You'll have it forever. Meredith needs us there on that specific day. And I don't? After everything I've done for this family, I don't deserve one day where I'm the priority." "That's not fair, Allison. You chose to be a mother. You chose to put your education on hold. For us. I chose it for us." My voice broke. "And now I'm asking for one day, just one day, where my family shows up for me the way I've always shown up for all of you." Jason shook his head, his decision clearly already made. "I'm sorry you feel this way, but we have to be at Meredith's exhibition. The kids are excited about it, my parents are expecting us, and frankly, it's more important for our family to be there. You can attend your graduation alone and meet us afterward." I stared at him, this man I'd built a life with, suddenly seeing a stranger. "Fine," I said finally, wiping my tears. "Do what you want. You will anyway." I left him sitting there and went to our bedroom, closing the door quietly behind me. I could have slammed it, screamed, continued arguing. Instead, I sat on the edge of our bed, graduation announcements still in their envelopes on my nightstand, and allowed myself to feel the full weight of their betrayal. The next morning, I came downstairs to find the family acting as if nothing had happened. Jason had made coffee. The kids were eating cereal, backpacks ready by the door. No one mentioned graduation or the exhibition. Over the next few days, I tried speaking to each child individually, hoping they might understand if approached alone. I found Emma in her room, working on homework. "Emma, could we talk about graduation for a minute?" She sighed dramatically. "Mom, Dad already decided. And honestly, Aunt Meredith's thing sounds way more interesting than sitting through hundreds of names being called." With Tyler, I tried a different approach, catching him between gaming sessions. "I've never asked you guys to miss something important for me before," I said gently. "This really matters to me." He squirmed uncomfortably. "Yeah, but Grandma and Grandpa will be disappointed if we don't go to Aunt Meredith's thing. And there's supposed to be this really cool interactive art stuff. Lily, my youngest, at least showed some empathy. I'm sorry, Mommy. Maybe I could come to your graduation and then go to Auntie Meredith's after? For a moment, I felt a spark of hope until Jason interjected from the doorway. Lily, we've already discussed this. We're all attending Aunt Meredith's exhibition as a family. A week before graduation, I made one final attempt. Jason and I were alone in the kitchen late at night. I've been thinking, I began cautiously. What if you and the kids come to just the ceremony part? It's only about an hour. Then we could all go to Meredith's together. Jason looked up from his phone, exasperated. Allison, I thought we settled this. The private viewing starts at 4, and we need to be there early to help Meredith set up. Your parents are coming too, right? They can watch you graduate. My parents lived across the country and couldn't afford the trip, something Jason knew perfectly well. No, I said quietly. They can't make it. Well, then ask a friend to take pictures or something. He returned to his phone, conversation over. In that moment, something shifted inside me. I wouldn't beg anymore. I wouldn't make myself small to accommodate everyone else's priorities. If they chose not to witness this milestone, I would experience it with dignity, alone. Graduation day dawned bright and clear, the kind of perfect spring morning that usually lifted my spirits. I woke to an empty house and a note on the kitchen counter, gone to help Meredith set up. Good luck today. We'll see you at the exhibition later. Jay, no, congratulations. No acknowledgement of what today meant to me. Just a reminder of where their priorities lay. I made coffee and sat at our kitchen table, surrounded by the evidence of my family's lives, Lily's science project on the counter, Tyler's soccer schedule on the refrigerator, Emma's prom photos on the wall. For 15 years, I'd orbited around them, ensuring their needs were met, their dreams supported. Today, the emptiness of the house echoed the emptiness in my chest. I showered and dressed carefully, applying makeup to hide the traces of tears from the night before. My graduation gown hung on the back of our bedroom door, basic black polyester that somehow represented so much more. I zipped it up slowly, adjusted the Honor Society cords around my neck, and placed the cap on my head. The woman in the mirror looked accomplished, proud. No one would guess she was breaking inside. The drive to campus was surreal. Other cars contained families. Parents with cameras ready, siblings in nice clothes, some with balloons or flowers. I parked in the crowded lot and followed the stream of black-robed graduates toward the auditorium. Everyone seemed to be with someone. Everyone except me. Allison. Wait up. I turned to see Sarah, a classmate from my business strategy course, waving as she navigated through the crowd. We'd worked together on several group projects, often meeting at the library when our family schedules allowed. Can you believe we made it? She grinned, adjusting her cap. My kids made a sign, but it's so embarrassing. Where's your family? The question I'd been dreading. They'll come later, I lied, unable to admit the truth. Where should we line up? Inside the auditorium, I found my assigned seat among the business school graduates. The ceremony wouldn't start for another 40 minutes, so I walked back to the entrance where families were being seated. I'd reserved 4 tickets, and the usher directed me to a row with 4 empty seats. I placed my purse on one, marking it as taken, though I knew no one would come to claim the others. As the auditorium filled, the empty spaces beside me became more conspicuous. Families squeezed together, strangers offered to swap seats to accommodate groups, and still, those 3 seats remained vacant, a physical manifestation of my family's absence. My phone buzzed. A text from Jason with a photo of Emma, Tyler, and Lily helping to hang a large canvas. Kids working hard at the gallery. The caption was cheerful, oblivious to the knife it twisted in my heart. Another buzz, Lily holding a plate of petit fours from the caterer. Dessert preview. I turned my phone off and slipped it into my purse. The ceremony began with a processional, faculty in their colorful academic regalia leading the way. The university president welcomed everyone, speaking about achievement, perseverance, and the support of loved ones. Each word felt like it was directed at me, highlighting what should have been present and wasn't. When it came time for the business school graduates to receive their diplomas, I joined the line, moving mechanically toward the stage. Names were called, hands shaken, photos taken. The students ahead of me waved to cheering sections in the audience, their moments of triumph shared and magnified. Allison Marie Reynolds, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, summa cum laude. I walked across the stage, accepted my diploma, shook hands with the dean. The audience offered the same polite applause they gave everyone, but there were no specific cheers, no voices calling my name. I looked out at the blur of faces, still instinctively searching for the ones that mattered most, before making my way back to my seat. After the ceremony, the auditorium emptied into the courtyard where a reception was being held. Families gathered for photos, graduates introduced professors to parents, children ran between groups with programs rolled into makeshift telescopes. I stood alone, diploma in hand, uncertain what to do next. Allison. Sarah approached with an older couple and a man about our age. These are my parents and my husband, Nathan. Guys, this is Allison, the one I told you about. She saved our group project when the server crashed before our presentation. Sarah's family shook my hand warmly, congratulating me. Nathan insisted on taking a photo of Sarah and me together in our caps and gowns. Where's your crew? Sarah asked, looking around. I want to meet them. The question hung between us. I could lie again, make another excuse. Instead, I felt my carefully constructed composure crumble. They didn't come, I whispered, voice breaking. They went to my sister-in-law's art exhibition instead. Sarah's expression shifted from confusion to disbelief to anger. They what? It's fine, I said automatically, the same way I dismissed my own needs for years. It's just a ceremony, right? I still have the degree. Sarah exchanged glances with her husband. That's not right, Allison. I nodded, unable to speak further as tears began flowing freely. Sarah guided me to a bench away from the celebrating crowds, her arm around my shoulders. I'm sorry, I managed between sobs. I didn't mean to fall apart. It's just 15 years. I worked so hard. And they couldn't give me this one day. In that moment, surrounded by others' joy, the full weight of my family's betrayal crashed over me. It wasn't just about missing a ceremony. It was about years of invisibility, of my dreams being treated as secondary, of the message sent to our children about whose achievements warranted celebration and whose didn't. On what should have been one of the proudest days of my life, I'd never felt more alone. This is unacceptable, Sarah said firmly, still sitting beside me on the bench. Her graduation gown rustled as she turned to face me directly. Allison, you're one of the hardest working people I know. You balanced a full course load with raising 3 kids. You made the dean's list every semester. You deserve to celebrate today. I wiped my tears, embarrassed by my breakdown. I should go. They're expecting me at the exhibition. No. Sarah's voice was surprisingly authoritative. No, you shouldn't. Not right now. Nathan, Sarah's husband, approached with 2 cups of punch from the reception. Everything okay? He asked, concern evident as he handed us the drinks. Sarah gave him a meaningful look. Allison's family skipped her graduation for an art show. Nathan's eyebrows shot up. You're kidding. I wish, I said, attempting a smile that felt more like a grimace. Well, that settles it, Sarah declared. You're celebrating with us. Nathan, call the restaurant and add 1 more to our reservation. I couldn't impose, I began, but Sarah cut me off. It's not an imposition. It's a graduation celebration. She stood up, straightening her cap. And I'm calling the study group. They should be around here somewhere. Before I could protest further, Sarah was texting furiously. Nathan sat beside me, his presence comfortable and kind. Sarah doesn't take no for an answer, he explained with a gentle smile. One of the many reasons I married her. Congratulations, by the way. Sarah told me how brilliant you were in your entrepreneurship class. I blinked in surprise. A relative stranger knew about my academic achievements, while my own husband had barely acknowledged them. Within 15 minutes, our study group had assembled. Michael, a retired military officer returning for his degree. Jen, a single mother like Sarah. And Diego, a young international student who'd often helped me with statistics. All of them congratulated me warmly, expressing genuine pride in our shared accomplishment. Professor Jenkins is over there, Diego pointed. He was asking about you. Said your final project was the best in the class. Really? I hadn't thought any of my professors would remember me specifically among hundreds of graduates. Ms. Reynolds. Professor Jenkins approached, academic regalia still on. I was hoping to catch you. That business plan you developed for local artisans to market internationally, brilliant work. Have you considered implementing it? No, not really, I admitted. It was just a class project. Well, it shouldn't be just a project. You identified a genuine market opportunity. In fact, I've mentioned it to some colleagues in the business incubator program. They'd be interested in speaking with you. As Professor Jenkins continued, I felt a strange sensation. Pride without apology, validation from someone who recognized my abilities without qualification. For years, I'd diminished my own accomplishments, accepting that they were secondary to everyone else's. But here were people, some I barely knew, affirming that my work mattered, that I mattered. We have a table at Marcello's in 30 minutes, Sarah announced, returning to our group. Professor Jenkins, would you like to join us? We're celebrating our graduation properly. To my surprise, he accepted. As our impromptu celebration party walked toward the parking lot, my phone began ringing. Emma's name flashed on the screen. Mom? Her voice sounded small. When are you coming to Aunt Meredith's thing? Dad's asking. I stopped walking, my newfound confidence wavering. The pull of family obligation was strong, the habit of placing myself last deeply ingrained. Sarah watched me, concern in her eyes. I'm celebrating my graduation, Emma, I said, my voice steadier than I expected. With people who showed up. But we're waiting for you. Grandma and Grandpa are asking too. I'm sure they are. I couldn't keep the hurt from my voice. Tell them and your father that I'll be there when I'm ready. This is my day too. Mom, Emma's voice changed, a note of realization creeping in. Are you mad about the graduation thing? I'm not mad, Emma. I'm disappointed. And for once, I'm choosing to honor my own achievement before rushing to celebrate someone else's. I'll see you all later. I ended the call, trembling slightly. Never in 16 years of motherhood had I put myself before my children's immediate wants. It felt terrifying and necessary all at once. You okay? Sarah asked gently. I nodded, surprised to find it was true. Yes, I think I am. Lunch at Marcello's was unlike any celebration I'd ever experienced. We ordered wine and toasted our accomplishments. Professor Jenkins shared stories about his own unconventional path to academia. Diego's parents called from Colombia, and he proudly introduced me to them via video call as his study partner who saved him from failing statistics. We laughed, took photos, and spoke seriously about our futures. To the class of 2023, Sarah raised her glass for a final toast. May we use our education to change our worlds, however big or small they may be. As we clinked glasses, I realized I hadn't checked my phone in hours. 6 missed calls from Jason, multiple texts from the kids. I skimmed them quickly, increasing concern about my absence, questions about when I'd arrive. Finally, an admission from Jason that the kids are asking where you are and I don't know what to tell them. I put the phone away, surprising myself with how little urgency I felt to respond. For years, I'd been instantly available to my family, dropping everything to meet their needs. Today, just this once, they could wait. It was nearly 7 when I finally drove home. The house was dark and quiet, everyone still at the exhibition. I placed my diploma on the kitchen table and looked around at the tasks typically waiting for me, dishes in the sink, backpacks dumped by the door, mail to be sorted. For the first time in recent memory, I left them untouched. Instead, I went upstairs, changed out of my graduation clothes, and got into bed with a book I'd been wanting to read for months. No studying, no household management, no putting everyone else first. Just me honoring my achievement in my own quiet way. As I read, a profound realization settled over me. Something fundamental had shifted today. I'd always defined myself primarily as a mother and wife, measuring my worth by how well I served my family. Today, I'd remembered I was also Allison. A woman with dreams, intelligence, and value beyond her relationships to others. I wasn't sure what this meant for tomorrow or the days after, but I knew I couldn't go back to invisibility. The front door opened at 11:30 p.m., followed by the familiar sounds of my family returning home, Lily's high-pitched chatter, Tyler's heavier footsteps, Emma's quieter presence, and Jason's keys landing in the bowl by the door. I remained in bed, book open though I'd stopped reading when I heard their car in the driveway. "Mom?" Lily called. "Are you home?" I heard Jason shushing her. "It's late, honey. Mom might be asleep." "But her car's here," Tyler pointed out. Footsteps on the stairs, then a soft knock at the bedroom door. "Allison." Jason's voice, tentative in a way it rarely was. "Are you awake?" "Yes," I answered, not moving to open the door. He entered, still wearing his dress clothes from the exhibition. "Hey," he said awkwardly. "We missed you tonight." I marked my place in my book and set it aside. "Did you?" "Of course we did." He loosened his tie, looking confused by my tone. The exhibition went really well. Meredith sold 3 pieces before the official opening even started. "That's nice," I said neutrally. "Congratulations to her. The kids were asking about you." "My parents too." "I'm sure they were." Jason sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Look, how was the graduation ceremony? Did it go okay?" "It was lovely," I replied, the calm in my voice surprising even me. "The dean personally congratulated me on graduating summa cum laude. Did you know I had the highest GPA in the business school? They announced it during the ceremony." Jason's expression flickered between pride and discomfort. "That's amazing, Al. I always knew you were smart." Professor Jenkins invited me to interview for the university's business incubator program. He thinks my final project has real-world potential. "Really? That's great." He attempted a smile. "See? You didn't need us there after all. You did fine on your own." I stared at him, momentarily speechless at his complete misunderstanding. "I didn't need you there? Is that really what you think this is about?" Before he could answer, our bedroom door pushed open wider. The children stood in the hallway, still in their exhibition clothes, watching us with uncertain expressions. "Mom?" Emma ventured. "Are you mad at us?" I took a deep breath. This conversation was overdue, but I needed to handle it carefully. "I'm not mad, Emma. I'm hurt. There's a difference." "Because we didn't go to your graduation?" Tyler asked, fidgeting with his tie. "Partly," I acknowledged. "But it's more than that. Come in, all of you. We need to talk." The children filed in hesitantly. Lily climbed onto the bed beside me, while Emma and Tyler took positions leaning against the dresser. Jason remained perched awkwardly at the foot of the bed. "Today was important to me," I began, keeping my voice steady. "Not just because it was a ceremony, but because it represented 15 years of work and sacrifice. When you all chose not to be there, it sent a message about how much, or how little, you value me and my accomplishments." "But we do value you, Mom," Emma protested. "You're always there for us." "Yes, I am," I agreed. "I'm at every soccer game, every dance recital, every parent-teacher conference. I help with homework, make meals, manage this household, and for the past 3 years, I've also been a full-time student. And in all that time, how often have any of you asked about my classes or shown interest in what I was learning?" Their silence was answer enough. When Aunt Meredith announced her exhibition, everyone was excited. "You planned outfits, talked about it for weeks." But when I mentioned my graduation, something I've worked toward for 15 years, it was an inconvenience, something to work around. "We didn't think of it that way," Jason said quietly. "That's the problem," I replied. "You didn't think of it at all. You didn't think of me." Lily's small hand found mine. "I'm sorry, Mommy. I should have gone to your graduation." Her simple apology, sincere and unguarded, brought fresh tears to my eyes. "Thank you, sweetie." We could have split up, Emma realized, her teenage defensiveness falling away. Dad and Tyler could have gone to help Aunt Meredith early, and Lily and I could have gone to graduation with you. Or we all could have attended my graduation and still made it to the exhibition with plenty of time, I pointed out. But no one even considered that option. Because when it comes down to it, in this family, I'm always the one expected to compromise. Jason looked stricken. Allison, that's not true. Isn't it? I challenged. When's the last time you missed a work event for one of my school functions? When's the last time the children missed something they wanted to do to support me? When's the last time my needs or achievements were prioritized over Meredith's? The silence that followed was heavy with realization. My phone buzzed. A text from Meredith herself. Missed you tonight. Exhibition was amazing. Can't wait to tell you all about it. I showed the screen to Jason. Your sister doesn't even realize why I wasn't there. Because it never occurred to her, or to you, that I might have had something important of my own happening today. I messed up, Jason admitted, running a hand through his hair. We all did. I'm sorry, Allison. Truly. Me too, Tyler added, looking genuinely remorseful. It wasn't cool what we did. Emma's eyes had filled with tears. I was so selfish, Mom. I didn't even think about how hard you've worked or how much you've done for us. I just thought about what I wanted to do. Their apologies were a start, but years of feeling undervalued couldn't be erased with a few words. I appreciate that, I said. But things need to change. I can't go back to being invisible in my own family. What can we do? Jason asked, an edge of desperation in his voice. How do we make this right? I don't know yet, I answered honestly. But I do know I need some time to myself right now. I've booked a hotel room for the weekend. What? Jason looked stunned. You're leaving. Just for 2 days, I clarified. I need space to think about what I want going forward, both for myself and for our family. But who will? Tyler trailed off, realizing the selfishness of his question. Exactly, I said. That's what needs to change. I'm not just the person who takes care of everything and everyone else. I'm also a person with my own needs and dreams. As if on cue, my phone rang, Meredith calling now, probably wondering where I was. I declined the call. Mom, please don't go, Emma pleaded, tears streaming down her face now. I'm really sorry. I'll do better, I promise. Her distress pierced my heart. For a moment, I wavered, the maternal instinct to comfort overriding my own needs. But then I remembered the empty seats at graduation, the years of putting myself last, and I stood firm. I love you, Emma. All of you. But I need this time for myself. I got up and retrieved the overnight bag I'd packed earlier. There's lasagna in the fridge for tomorrow. Dad knows how to run the washing machine. I'll be back on Sunday evening. As I walked to the door, Jason followed. Allison, wait. We can work this out together. We'll do whatever it takes. I turned to face my family. My husband looking lost, my children in various states of distress. I know we will, I assured them. But first, I need to figure out what I need. That's something I haven't done in a very long time. With that, I walked out, closing the door gently behind me. The house that had always been my domain, the family that had been my entire world, I was leaving them to fend for themselves while I prioritized my own well-being. It was terrifying and liberating all at once. As I drove toward the hotel, I felt something unexpected beneath the hurt and resolution, hope. For the first time in years, I was acting on my own behalf, and the world hadn't ended. My family had really seen me, perhaps for the first time in a long while. It wasn't how I'd imagined this day would go, but maybe, just maybe, it was the beginning of something better. 3 days of solitude gave me perspective I hadn't realized I needed. In my hotel room overlooking the city park, I slept late, ordered room service, read books for pleasure instead of study, and thought deeply about what I wanted for my future. I wasn't just a wife and mother. I was Allison Reynolds, business graduate with distinction, woman with ambitions and capabilities that deserved nurturing. When I pulled into our driveway Sunday evening, I wasn't sure what to expect. What I found surprised me completely. The front door opened before I'd even turned off the engine. Emma, Tyler, and Lily spilled out onto the porch, followed by Jason. Above the door hung a handmade banner, "Congratulations, graduate," in colorful, carefully painted letters. As I stepped out of the car, Lily ran forward with a bouquet of daisies, my favorite. "We made these for you, Mom," she announced proudly, gesturing to the banner. "And we cleaned the whole house. Even Tyler's room." "It's true," Tyler confirmed, looking both proud and slightly embarrassed. "Dad made us do everything ourselves. No video games until it was all done." Jason stepped forward hesitantly. "Welcome home, Al. We missed you." I accepted the flowers from Lily, genuinely touched by their effort. "Thank you. This is unexpected." "Come inside," Emma urged, taking my overnight bag. "We have more." The interior of our home had been transformed. The dining room table was set with our good dishes, a congratulations tablecloth I'd never seen before, and a small wrapped gift at my place setting. The kitchen was spotless, and a delicious smell was coming from the oven. "I made lasagna," Jason explained. "Well, tried to. It doesn't look quite like yours, but the kids said it tastes okay." "Dad had to watch 3 YouTube videos to figure it out," Tyler stage whispered. "And he called Grandma twice," added Lily with a giggle. The normalcy of their teasing, combined with the abnormality of Jason cooking, brought an unexpected smile to my face. "I'm impressed." "Before dinner," Jason said, "there's someone who wants to talk to you." From the living room, Meredith appeared, looking uncharacteristically subdued. "Allison, I owe you an enormous apology." I stiffened slightly. Meredith was the last person I expected or wanted to see today. "I had no idea my exhibition was the same day as your graduation," she continued. "Jason never told me until yesterday. If I'd known, I would have scheduled differently or at least understood why you weren't there." "I feel terrible." Her apology seemed genuine, but years of playing second fiddle to Meredith's priorities made me wary. "Thank you for saying that." "I brought something for you," she added, retrieving a package from the living room. "It's not much, but I wanted you to have it." Inside was a framed watercolor of the university's iconic bell tower, where I'd taken my graduation photos alone. It was beautiful, Meredith's talent undeniable. "I painted it this morning," she explained. "Jason showed me the photos you took. I thought you might want something to commemorate the day." "That's very thoughtful," I said, genuinely surprised by her gesture. "I also told Mom and Dad," Meredith added. "They feel awful too. They want to take you to dinner next weekend to celebrate properly." Jason stepped forward. "Meredith's going to head out now. This evening is about you." After she left, we sat down to dinner, a family of 5 around a table that had never felt quite so purposeful before. The lasagna was imperfect, but made with care. The children, usually distracted and hurried at meals, were attentive and eager to share what they'd done in my absence. "Dad made us do our own laundry," Emma reported. "I turned all Tyler's white shirts pink. Because you put your red sweater in with my load," Tyler protested. "I learned to make scrambled eggs," Lily announced proudly. "And I only got shell in them twice." "It turns out," Jason said with a self-deprecating smile, "that running this household is a lot harder than it looks." "We always knew you did a lot, Al, but I don't think any of us realized just how much." After dinner, Jason insisted I sit while they cleared the table. A role reversal that felt foreign but welcome. When they returned, he placed the small wrapped gift before me. "This isn't meant to make up for missing your graduation," he said seriously. "Nothing can do that, and we know it. But we wanted to give you something that symbolizes our commitment to change." Inside the box was a beautiful leather-bound planner. Opening it, I found dates already marked. Mom's business incubator interview, Mom's night out with Sarah, Mom's weekend writing retreat. "We called Professor Jenkins," Jason explained. "He told us about the interview next week, and we've arranged for you to have the whole day to prepare. The other dates are just suggestions, time that's reserved just for you, whatever you want to do with it." "And we each have a new job chart," Lily added, retrieving a colorful diagram from the kitchen. "See? Tyler does the trash and recycling, I feed the pets and set the table, Emma does laundry and helps with dinner, and Dad does grocery shopping and bills. And the bathrooms," Tyler grimaced. That was non-negotiable. I laughed despite myself, touched by their efforts even as I recognized this was just a beginning. This is wonderful, but you know it's about more than chores, right? It's about respect and valuing each other's dreams. We know, Emma said quietly. I've been thinking a lot about how I want to be treated when I accomplish something important. And then I realized I've never treated you that way. I'm really sorry, Mom. Jason reached for my hand across the table. I've been doing a lot of thinking too. About our whole marriage, actually. You gave up so much for our family, and somewhere along the way, I started taking that sacrifice for granted. I started seeing your education as a hobby instead of the achievement it is. He squeezed my hand gently. I'm incredibly proud of you, Allison. Not just for graduating, but for standing up for yourself. For reminding us that you matter too. I don't want to be the kind of husband who doesn't celebrate his wife's victories, or the kind of father who teaches his children that mom's dreams come last. His words brought tears to my eyes, not the hurt-filled tears of graduation day, but something healing and hopeful. The next 6 months brought genuine changes to our family dynamic. My diploma was framed and hung prominently in our living room, alongside Meredith's painting of the bell tower. The interview with the Business Incubator program led to an opportunity to develop my international artisan marketplace platform, which quickly grew from concept to fledgling business. Jason restructured his work schedule to be home earlier 3 days a week, taking over dinner duty those evenings. The children, after initial resistance, adapted to their increased responsibilities, learning life skills they should have been developing all along. Our home ran differently now, less efficiently perhaps, but more equitably. Most importantly, the invisible labor I had carried for so long became visible. My work, both inside and outside our home, was acknowledged, discussed, and valued. The planner gift wasn't just symbolic. Those reserved times for my personal and professional development became sacred on our family calendar. One evening in November, I was helping Emma research colleges when she asked a question that surprised me. Mom, do you ever regret giving up your education when you had me? I considered carefully before answering. I regret that I felt I had no choice. But I've never regretted you, Emma. What I've learned is that it shouldn't have been an either/or situation. With the right support, women can be mothers and pursue their dreams. She nodded thoughtfully. I want both too, college and eventually a family. But I don't want to disappear into taking care of everyone else. You won't, I promised. Because you've seen a different model now. And because you know your worth isn't measured by how much you sacrifice. That night, as Jason and I prepared for bed, I found myself reflecting on how far we'd come from that painful graduation day. What are you thinking about? He asked, noticing my contemplative mood. How sometimes the most painful moments lead to necessary growth, I replied. If you all had come to my graduation, we might have continued in the same patterns forever. I still wish we'd been there, Jason said regretfully. But I'm grateful for the wake-up call, even if it came in the form of me being a complete idiot. I laughed and leaned against his shoulder. We're all works in progress. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been backsliding, arguments, and moments when old patterns threatened to reemerge. But the fundamental shift had occurred. I was no longer invisible in my own family, and I would never allow myself to be again. Sometimes the people who should see you most clearly are blinded by familiarity. Finding your voice might hurt at first, but silence hurts longer. My family missed my graduation, choosing my sister-in-law's exhibition instead, but they've shown up for me every day since, in ways that matter more than any ceremony could capture. If you've ever felt invisible to the people who should see you most, remember that your worth isn't determined by others' recognition. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand alone rather than shrink yourself to fit others' expectations. I'd love to hear about a time when you had to choose yourself. Share your story in the comments below. And if this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need this message today. Thank you for witnessing my story, and remember, you deserve to be seen, especially when it means standing up for yourself.